Hey guys, coldbrew here. Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. This one will be all about the Doom Tower stage 120 and Iragoth, the Eternal Dragon. Many of you out there find difficulty in beating this stage and messaging me asking for help through takeovers. And I said, okay, I'm gonna make a list of champions that will be helpful for you guys to actually take down this boss. As always, it's not only the champions needed, it's also the gear. Before we get on to that, guys, if you still haven't downloaded Bluestacks, then what are you waiting for? There's going to be a link down below in the description and comments of this video. Bluestacks is a great Android emulator where you can play Raid Shadow Legends, have multiple instances, so you can level up your referral counts, for example, or even use it as an auto clicker and farm overnight. Definitely check it out, guys. So let's go over Iragoth's skills over here when you click the info tab, guys. Very quickly, we're going to go over his skills. His A1 does a block active skills as an AoE. It's insanely annoying. Then his A2 does damage depending on if skills are on cooldown, and he can also apply a fear on enemies with no skills on cooldown. Then he's got Soul Burst, the most annoying skill a boss can have in the game. Puts all enemy skills on cooldown, fills Iragoth's turn by 5% for every turn remaining on all enemy skills cooldown. That's insane actually, because he can actually get a double turn with just this skill. It's extremely annoying to have this, and a boss with about 250 speed is just insane for stage 120. Next, if that wasn't enough, he still has 3 more adds next to him. One of them is the Priest, the other 2 are the Guardians. The Priest is very annoying because the Priest can actually reset his own cooldowns, the boss's cooldowns, when he gets consumed by the boss. He can reset your own cooldowns if you manage to kill it before the boss does, but that's a lot to take in considering you get block active skills, you get your cooldowns increased, and then you got the internal guards that cannot receive more than 25% damage from skills. They decrease the damage taken from AoE attacks by 75%. That's insane. That's insane actually, and it definitely makes it much more difficult to go in there with AoE damage nukers. That being said, guys, let's go over my list of top 15 champions. Of course, this list is not the one and only. If you do have any champions in mind that you think should be considered, put them down below in the comments, guys. I definitely want to see them and see maybe we can expand the list to more than 15 champions. First champion on the list, of course, will be from the Bannerlords and Helio, very recent addition to the champion pool. This skill is very specific and unique to Helio and is insane for the Iragoth boss. Converts this champion's resistance into additional accuracy. It means you can build high resist on Helio, 500 resist if you can. That's actually going to be your accuracy, which is needed only for this skill. Transfers all debuffs from all allies, meaning if they got block active skills, if they got a defense down, if they got a provoke, he will transfer them, the ones that are transferable anyway, to a target enemy, then attacks that enemy with the default skill. Basically, it's a cleanse on a 3-turn cooldown when fully booked, so it's an insane skill to have for a champion. Also, guys, whenever an ally has 2 or more debuffs is attacked, this champion will absorb 30% of the damage inflicted on that enemy, on that ally. So very often you'll have your allies attack with a defense down and a provoke, so that's 2 debuffs by the boss, and this makes it so much easier for them to survive because Helio will be built tanky with resistance. It will be able to take that damage instead. He also has an all ally resist in battles by 60 boost, so that's pretty good if you want to use that instead to boost your stats by a little bit. He's got a medium to high resist as a base. It's not the highest I've seen, but it's still good at 50 base resist right here. And in the Sacred Order faction, guys, Martyr with their A2, the counterattack buff and increased defense, definitely helps against Iragoth. Iragoth can even ignore 50% of your defense in a specific situation throughout the boss fight. So having an increased defense buff can be helpful in mitigating a little bit more of the damage dealt on your team. She also has a AoE, decreased attack and provoke on her A3. That's insanely high damaging skill as well, but you'll need to be building Martyr with a mixture of both health, defense, accuracy and resist if you want to be taking her into Iragoth, the Eternal Dragon. Next up in this list, guys, we're gonna have a couple of champions from the Barbarians faction. Next up, guys, we're into the Barbarian faction with Sal of the Drakes and Tuhanarak. Tuhanarak has a very similar champion, well, a champion that does very similar things to what Tuhanarak does. Tuhanarak just does them a little bit better if you got the synergy going. This passive makes her insane. Removes 1 random debuff from all allies at the start of each turn. 2 if they've got continuous heal buffs. So if you can make that synergy going, she'll be cleansing 2 debuffs each turn. That's insane. She can also apply a decreased attack and a block buffs debuff if it can actually be applied on the enemy. She also applies a debuff spread effect. That means you can do it on the boss and spread the decreased attack onto the adds as well. So you can help yourself survive a little bit longer. She can actually apply decreased speed and continuous heal buffs on this champion also through her A1. Insane champion, but as a void, it's a bit difficult to get. I know. Sal of the Drakes though is the next one here. Sal of the Drakes is an insane champion. You guys all know about her. The reason she's so great on this boss is not only for the stuns. If she manages to get her cooldowns not decreased by that skill, she can actually do a stun on the ads. If that's not the case, she's still great because she does have a heals all allies by 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn. Also plays a 30% increased speed buff on a random ally for 2 turns. This is great because Sal of the Drakes can actually do this without having her cooldowns. If her cooldowns are increased, she's still fine. She still will heal every time she gets a turn, and that's why this is so great. You need that constant healing to recover from those big shots from the boss. Next up, guys, we're in the Lizardman faction, and we're gonna look at Krisk. Krisk is an insane champion. You guys all know about it, but the reason he's so great here is even if he gets his cooldowns increased, he's got this fantastic passive where he does apply both a decreased defense and a decreased attack on the attacker for 1 turn when hit. This means you can constantly have that decreased attack on Iragoth, the boss, when he attacks your Krisk. Krisk being a very tanky champion, he can take those hits, he'll still survive. You can have him with a shield set in there, plus the shield passive that he has. You'll be able to survive those initial hits at the boss's turn and be able to actually use your skills if you can, if you've got that high resist. Great combo to use Krisk in any of the Iragoth teams. Very difficult champion to get, I know, but that's why he's in the top 15 list. Next up, guys, another champion in the Lizardman is going to be Jareg. Jareg much easier to get because he's a non-void epic champion. That being said, he's got a great A1 decreased attack, very simple, and a great passive. This passive is insane. There's not many champions out there who have such fantastic passive. Plays a 15% continuous heal buff on an ally for 1 turn whenever an ally loses 20% of their max HP in 1 hit. This means he can do it on all of his allies, even himself. It's an insane way for your allies to get healed when they get those big hits on them. Because he gets his cooldowns increased, it means he just hits with his A1. The decreased attack is gonna be needed for Iragoth in order for you to survive the hits much later on. Next up, guys, we're into the Orcs faction with Warlord being the legendary champion that I like the best for this boss. Insane champion just because of that aura. 80 resist boost to everybody for this battle, and a fantastic A3. Puts the enemy's skills on cooldown. Insane to have against Iragoth. It means you can lock out Iragoth, that boss, when the fight starts, as long as you go Warlord at over 250 speed. That's the way that you need to build Warlord. And then he also has a block debuff buff available for his allies and a shield buff plus healing on his A2. Insane. A2, A1 can extend the duration of debuff, so extend the duration of an attack down. Amazing skill set. This champion is built to beat Iragoth, so if you have him, use him for Iragoth. You're not gonna regret having Warlord, of course, for beating down this boss. Then we go over to the epic champions for the Orcs faction. One champion in specific, Rask, is all about healing. His A1 and A2 don't matter really, but you want to lock out his A2 if you can use your custom AI. You just want to have him using his A1. Fills his champion's turn meter by 20% if his attack is critical. Means if he's getting those crits all the time, he'll be boosting his turn meter, getting more turns. He's got a great passive. Heals all allies by 10% of his max HP when he inflicts a critical hit. You can easily build Rask with 80,000 health if you've got that health glove, health chest, health on ring, and amulet, even on the banner. He doesn't need anything like accuracy. You can build him with resist if you want, but what's the reason? Maybe you can resist those decreased defenses that can be applied on yourself, or you know, the provokes, but the provoke doesn't matter. You only care about the decreased defense really, now that I think of it. So build him with as much HP as possible. You can build him with speed. Retaliation gear works great on Rask, but if you see that you're taking big hits, you can always go back to Stalwart set. Next up, guys, we got quite a few champions that can be useful from the Demon Spawn function. First things first, Drexar, the free-to-play 100-day 3v3 Bazaar reward. Drexar is just insane. He applies an HP burn when he gets attacked. It means you can actually have him just there getting hits. He's tanky because he's a defensive-based champion. Have him with high HP with the lifesteal set. It's gonna make his life way easier to survive. He'll be applying HP burn to everybody, even the ads, because the ads also attack with an AoE. He has a great aura that helps you reach that threshold of about 320, 350 accuracy needed for Iragoth in 120, and definitely an insane champion to have. Even if he gets locked out with his cooldowns, he can use his A1, which applies an HP burn on the enemy target and can actually heal himself if there is an HP burn on the boss. And next up, another legendary, Duchess Lily 2. You guys know why Duchess Lily 2 is insane. The reason that she's insane here is that she provides that needed damage reduction to your allies from AoE attacks. It's 15% from bosses, but 25% from the ads, which the ads can also hit quite hard when there's a defense down on you. You can build her with very high resistance so that she can actually use her skills. She can apply a perfect veil to your team plus a block debuffs buff. That's going to protect you from both damage and debuffs. So it's insane to have Duchess Lily 2 as one of your champions going into Iragoth. That being said, she also has Revive. She's got a shield on the A1. It's a no-brainer using Duchess Lily 2 for Iragoth. Then going down into the epics, one champion that I really like for this boss is Paidma. Paidma, for the reason that she's got a decreased attack debuff on her A1 skill if the attack is critical, of course, and she can actually get this to 100% chance. She cannot get weak hit on through this. Iragoth is void anyway, so she is void also. So it's an insane champion to have. When you get locked out, you can use this. You apply decreased attack on every one of the targets against you. If you have a hard time applying decreased attack, she is the key for you to receive much less damage from that boss. Next up, guys, we got Undead Horde. There's so many champions in here, but they didn't make my own personal top 15 list. I want to say that Necred and Sifi are just insane here, but in terms of just being the top 15, I've found more use in Vogoth than anybody else from Undead Hordes. Honestly, because of this insane passive, whenever this champion is attacked, heals all allies by 50% of the damage received, only heals by 25% of the damage received from boss attacks. And still, this is insane. And still, it's an insane way to heal your allies. He's got a way to... each hit has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of random debuff on the target by 1 turn. So boost that duration of an attack down, for example, on the boss. He's going to provoke if you want to build him as a provoker with high resist, because you still need to have access to the skill. Remember, the boss increases cooldowns, so if you cannot resist that increase in cooldowns, then you won't be able to apply provoke. Still, he's great there just for the heals. He also has another passive when attack places a leech debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. If the attacker is under provoke debuff, also has a 70% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random skill on the attacker by 2 turns. Unfortunately, you cannot apply provoke on a boss, so the second part will not work. The leech will definitely help you in just recovering, plus the healing that he does from this passive. An insane champion to have for Iragoth. Next up, guys, in the Nice Revenant faction, I did mention a champion very similar to Tuhanark. You guys probably know who it is. Doom Priest, very similar passive to what Tuhanark has, but a little bit better because of the healing. But Tuhanark has many other things to provide to a team. Doom Priest only provides this as a way to heal your team and also remove that random debuff at the start of this champion's turn. It's an insane passive to have. I like to use Doom Priest with high resist. The reason for the high resist is for her to be resisting many of the debuffs, such as the defense down. So if you've got a defense down, if you've got a provoke on yourself and a block cooldown skills, then removing that defense down is the most crucial thing that you need to do. That's why I can still build Doom Priest with high resist. I know that she will be cleansing 1 debuff when she gets a turn, but if that defense down is on, she's got 3 debuffs on herself, then she'll need to be very lucky to remove that defense down, and that defense down can actually cost her own life if the boss gets turned and does a big hit. So build her tanky. You can build her with resistance. A frenzy set works great because when she's taken down low, she gains a boost to turn meter, she gains a turn, removes any debuffs from everybody, and actually heals a little bit on all allies as well. In the Dwarves faction, guys, we've got many champions that can be helpful for this boss, but one in specific, Undead Priest Brokney. The reason is for his high shields that he can actually provide to the team. You can easily build him with high resist because of his 90 base resist that he has. That's an insane amount of resist that a champion can have. The shield that he can put is based on how much HP you build this champion with. 23,000 as a base. You can easily boost that to 80k plus high resist so that he doesn't get his cooldowns increased. Get those shields on your team, protect them from those big AoEs. Also help with the damage because you're gonna have Giant Slayer on this guy, and you'll definitely see you beating Iragoth, not yourself, with this champion. It's an insane champion to have. I know. He's the #1 champion for this year, I think, in 2021. And he just proves it once again for Iragoth. And finally, in the Shadowkin faction, guys, the one and only Ninja can be very useful for this boss if you build him correctly. It's very difficult to build Ninja correctly, but I just wanted to add this champion into the list as a damage dealer plus a crowd controller. So he does have a way to freeze everybody once you reach the boss, except for the boss, of course. With his A3, 100% chance to freeze. He has this A2, which is an insane way to apply an HP burn on the boss, and also just do an insane burst of damage to the boss. You know that HP burns do insane damage. He works great for this boss as long as you build him a little bit tanky as well. You don't care about his attack or critical rate or critical damage when you're going in with a damage dealing ninja for bosses specifically. You care about him getting more rotations to his A2, which is going to be where the big burst of damage comes. He can also place a perfect veil buff on himself when he does apply his A2, which helps with the damage mitigation, guys. So insane champion and available to every one of us probably watching this video. So guys, this was the video of my top 15 champions for Iragoth, the Eternal Dragon, for this iteration of the Doom Tower. If you found this helpful, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Put in the comments down below any champions that I've probably missed, because we got so many champions in the game. I've probably missed one of them. Leave it down in the comments below. I want to read all about it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.